Guilty is the sequel to the 1993 sci-fi point-and-click adventure Innocent Until Caught, published by Psygnosis. The story follows Jack Ladd, a cunning rogue and master thief, who is on his next big heist when he's suddenly ambushed by Asana Andropath, a relentless space police officer. But Jack's escape is short-lived, as both soon discover a much greater threat. An alien force has attacked a nearby base. Now this unlikely duo must set aside their differences and team up to stop a looming galactic disaster. Guilty's graphics are decent for a 1993 release, though many point-and-click adventures from that era boasted more impressive visuals. The animation is serviceable and doesn't detract from the experience, keeping the gameplay smooth and engaging. The game also features cutscenes of Izan's ship traveling from planet to planet. While not groundbreaking, they add some visual variety without feeling outdated or intrusive.
I bet he's taken a vow of silence.
The game's soundtrack is a bit of a mixed bag. Some tracks, especially in abandoned bases, create an eerie, immersive atmosphere that enhances the mood. However, other areas suffer from music that feels out of place, repetitive, and somewhat uninspired. On the other hand, the voice acting is a pleasant surprise. Most characters are well performed, with Jack's voice actor standing out as a particular highlight.
It was you, wasn't it? You destroyed that tank, which was about to kill us. I don't know why you did it, but thanks anyway.
I couldn't sit there and watch you die. It was the right thing to do.
Unfortunately, the game's puzzles come with several frustrating issues. The biggest drawback is its heavy reliance on pixel hunting, with many essential hotspots nearly invisible, turning progress into a tedious guessing game. It's far too easy to get stuck simply because you missed a tiny, barely noticeable item hidden in a cluttered area. On top of that, many puzzles feel uninspired and monotonous, such as the repetitive task of collecting fuel in an abandoned area, or the tedious process of grinding for money in a bizarre casino game. Adding to the frustration is the unintuitive interface. The take and use commands don't always function as expected, creating unnecessary confusion. For instance, using a fire extinguisher requires the use command, but inserting a card into a slot strangely requires the take command. This inconsistency only adds to the game's trial and error frustrations, making the experience more aggravating than it should be.
That would be a waste of time.
The game features two playable characters, each with their own missions and puzzles on each planet, adding both variety and replayability. For instance, at the start of the game, Azan must retrieve a captain's log from a base, while Jack's task is to locate fuel for the ship. This dual-character approach is one of Guilty's strongest aspects, as it allows players to experience the story from different perspectives while tackling unique objectives. Each character's scenario can be completed in about 2 hours if you know exactly what to do, but in reality, expect a 5 to 6 hour playthrough due to the game's tricky and often frustrating puzzle design.
It's a metal grill.
Unfortunately, Innocent Until Caught 2 falls short of being a highly recommended adventure. While it's not a bad game, its clunky interface and frustrating puzzle design take away from the overall experience. The story feels dull, and the lack of humor makes the journey feel like a slog at times. That said, the game does have its strengths. The atmospheric setting and sense of isolation in certain space environments add to its mood, and the inclusion of two playable characters, each with unique missions and perspectives, adds variety and replayability. However, these positives aren't enough to elevate it beyond being a mediocre and somewhat
You and
clunky
your
experience.
How are we gonna get out of this one?
Now this is a really dumb idea.